tonight, compared to that other night, hopefully going to be a lot less hot air. Although I'm hoping that tonight we're going to have a bit of fun as well. So let's all put our hands together for everybody that's coming along tonight here. You're all going to get a chance to vote at the end of the night. We've got our amazing judges over here, I'll introduce in a second. But before I get onto them, let's talk about something important. We're actually raising money tonight for animals impacted by the recent bushfires. So if you want to get your phone out and click that, you can. And I'll tell you what, I've got a deal for you. I reckon every time you laugh tonight, it costs you $1. But every time you don't laugh, it costs you $5. Now, there's a few smart people who just saved themselves $4. Very, very clever crowd here tonight. But very important that we acknowledge the traditional owners of the land. In a lot of ways, way better custodians of the land than what we are today. So important that we recognise them. And also any first-time Fishburners here tonight. Put your hands together for them, because a very inclusive atmosphere here at Fishburners. So I want to welcome all of you first time. It's a great place if you're looking to start up a business, and we'll talk a bit about that later. But let me just let me tell you a bit in a few minutes. Like, I'm Martin Collings. I run a company called Charity that solves recycling bin contamination. But rather than talk too much about it, there's the tech's up on level 3 in the kitchen. So if you want to see the hardware, go and use it. I've used the joke in the past that says, you know, everyone talks about fintech, but the future is bin tech. But what I haven't said before is sometimes people say to me, so Martin, is your technology, is it deep tech? Of what you've built, is that sort of bin that solves recycling contamination, is it deep tech? And I'm thinking, maybe it depends just how far you put your arm inside that bin. So I've been a bit late coming to this journey of, there's probably a lot more enlightened people in this room than me. I've been a bit late coming to the journey of, of global climate change, but I am starting to warm to it. But sometimes I used to think to myself, I didn't quite understand it. You know, like everyone used to say the ice is melting, the sea level's going to rise, but wasn't all that water just going to drip off the edges of the earth? But it's coming to me. What if in like 50 years' time we look back at it and we realise we were wrong? What if we've gone and cleaned cleaner air to breathe? We've got rid of the pollution in the rivers. We've basically got all those smelly, noisy cars off the road, and we've reduced our dependence on, oil dictatorships, and it was all for nothing. But who knows? We'll find out. So I think But I say that in, obviously, I don't really believe that, but I'm trying to just have a bit of fun with you all here tonight. And just before I do pass on to the judges, I did hear a good joke the other day. It said, how many climate change deniers does it take to change a light bulb? They're still waiting for the evidence that the globe's actually broken. So anyway, I think it's time we brought a bit of sense to tonight's proceedings. And if I can just, I'm going to briefly introduce the judges, but then I'll pass it on to them and they can do better introductions of themselves, because we're very honoured to have them all here tonight. Unfortunately, we had one judge pull out. That was Glenn Bartlett from Albert's Impact Capital. He heard that I was going to make a joke about VCs. But no, seriously, he's not well. So Andrew, if you're watching, I hope you get better soon. But we've got Matisse, and we've got Andrea, and we've got Andrew tonight. All very, very, very well qualified people. If I can just get you to grab a microphone maybe there, and one by one do a bit of introduction of who you are and how you fit into tonight.
There you go. Hi, I'm Andrea Gardner. I'm the founder and CEO of Dulix Ventures. We invest in early stage technology startups, and we have a particular interest in startups that are actually working towards combating climate change. Looked at a lot, and we're looking, really keen to see the pictures tonight.
Hi everyone, my name is Matisse Walkton-Brown. I am a PR specialist working on social impact branding. Previous to that, I'm sort of new in this social impact, in the startup ecosphere, so I won't be using any jargon. Previous to that, I was with Greenpeace for 4.5 years as the head of the Pacific region. So I'm a climate activist from Fiji, I guess. It's my reason for being here. Look forward to hearing the pitches as well.
Hi, I'm Andrew Jones. I lead new energy technology ventures for the National Science Agency, CSIRO.
All right. All right, thank you very much. And I think that we've got 8 great pitches tonight, and we've got other people speaking at the end, so we've got a lot to get through. So hopefully they've all got more credible responses to climate change than some of my earlier stuff. Or as someone said to me, in Australia, we've got to think harder in Australia. Because in the US, they've got an option to reduce temperatures that we don't have. They can just move from Fahrenheit to Celsius. So we don't have that in Australia. We've got to work harder. So first of all, I'd like to welcome up on stage Tom from Green Wallet.
Customer preferences are rapidly changing, and not only is sustainability a concern just for the deep greens. Last month, Ipsos rated environment as #1 concern for Australians, and everyone wants an easy way to be part of the solution. I'm Tom from Green Wallet, and last year we were named #1 clean tech startup in the country because we're reimagining consumerism to fast-track the green economy. Let me show you how. Green Wallet is a smarter kind of digital payment app that rewards you for making better choices for the planet. And it all starts with understanding your green rating. Forget carbon footprint, forget Paris Agreement, and all of that other confusing stuff. We've simplified it to the star rating you see on your fridge. The average Australian sits at 2 stars. We can stop climate change if we all get to 4 stars. Find out your green rating, and then it's time to improve it. And you can do that by shopping green every day by tapping your digital wallet. Link your existing ANZ or CBA card to this and think Apple Pay or Google Pay, but no, this is Green Pay. Every time you shop, it will tell you if you're at a green provider and reward you both with your star rating improvement, but also in the form of cashback that are green dollars, which I'll touch on in a moment. But the other thing is, if you're not at a green provider, whether it be a supermarket or what have you, it'll tell you where a better one is for next time, so you continue on that journey. And this is that rewards. In terms of cashback, these are green dollars. Think Australian dollars, but they're green. They can only be spent in our green economy to snowball the decarbonisation effort. Whether it be spending it on your green supermarket, your green coffee, topping up your green super, or paying down your green mortgage, it's all there to accelerate the decarbonisation effort. And finally, track your impact and share it with your friends. Show them just how easy it is to make simple lifestyle choices as a consumer and start to really accelerate the effort. Our business model is simple. We connect people like you with the goods and services you buy. They just happen to be green. We put you in touch with trusted green alternatives, leveraging independent external third parties. And then we actually receive a loyalty subscription from the green providers, as well as a margin on the green dollars. Carbon offset margins, because our brand promise is anything you buy in the green economy is carbon neutral. And then switch revenues for anything like energy, insurance, and so on. We're really excited because we're launching the green economy this year, and we've already got partnerships across banking, energy, insurance, travel, and we're in discussions with some of the biggest supermarkets in the country. We're launching this off the back of the United Nations COP26, because Australia never has good news there, and we're using the power of the consumer to actually show that we're serious about this problem. We've got trusted distribution of over 600,000 people, and Damon Gammo from 2040 is leading our launch. We've got a world-class team of people, including the person that came up with the Energy Star rating system you see on your fridge. We're applying it to the individual, and Harvard's backing us. We're about to lead an equity crowdfund to get this off the ground. We want everyone to share in the success of Green Wallet, So register at greenwallet.com.au, EOI, and be part of this journey with us.
Put your hands together for Tom. Okay. So one thing I should have mentioned at the start was the bell. The warning bell goes at 2 minutes, and when you hear the final bell at 3 minutes, and then we've got a couple of minutes for questions from the judges. If one or two or all three want to ask a question, go for it, but don't feel compelled. But if you've got something to ask away.
Hi. Really inspiring, and I love your work. My one question is, what is green to you? And the rating, what is the criteria for a brand to be considered green by Green Wallet?
So we don't rate them ourselves, we leverage independent third parties, and each category has a different certification. It's a whole myriad of them. We spoke to a deep green recently who was looking for greener super, greener insurance, banking, and different products. They spent 3 days on a long weekend trying to figure it out, and they're a deep green. So we're actually using all those independent bodies and surfacing up the best by category. Some categories like supermarket, there's no clear winner. And so what we're saying to them is, it's time to take a leadership position here. RE100, pledge there, science-based targets and what have you, as well as making sure that you actually carbon offset someone's grocery basket as day one. Beyond that, we want them to make better choices up the carbon mitigation hierarchy, renewables and so on, to try and really accelerate this decarbonisation.
Love what you're doing, great pitch. I just want to understand a little more about the size of your market. How do you know, what are the numbers in terms of your market, and what do you base those on?
It's my co-founder, Neil.
Yeah, thanks, Tom, for the introduction. Look, the size of the market really, at the end of the day, is consumerism. And every year, Australian consumers spend close to $700 billion. Our dream is to turn every one of those dollars green or carbon neutral in the short term. So what is the size of our market? Our TAM, which people love to throw around, would be that number. Immediately, we want to go after the younger generations, and this is their call to arms, right? They want to shop green, they vote with their wallets. That's who we're going after immediately, because we want to bring them savings. They don't care about that. They're actually happy to spend more for a greener product. But long term, globally, it's consumerism.
And sorry, just to extend on that one bit, ultimately beyond those millennials, it's Australian households with kids that attended the school strikes. Those kids are so influential on their parents' spend, it's not funny. And these parents understand the problem. They're going to the strikes more so than the kids these days. So we've really got a staged approach to take it to the next level.
All right, thank you very much. Put your hands together for Green Wallet. Next up, I'll call once again. Before you come up, I was going to say that when this morning before I left the house, I was thinking, what can one person do to address, global warming? And I thought, what if I open all the windows and open all the doors, and just before I walked out the front door, I turned the air conditioner on full blast? Now, to tell you, I've got somebody here who's got a much more credible way to address these problems. Put your hands together for Carola from Everty. We're good, okay.
All right. So yes, I'm Carola. I'm the founder of Everty, and we are a software company for electric car charging. But I want to first acknowledge I really love it that Fishburners has dedicated this night to climate change and that we're raising money for wires. Because if you were like me over this summer, knowing that over 1 billion animals have perished in the fires, like that is shocking. And I guess we all have a role to play to catch up with it. So donate to Wires. I love the organization. But why am I here? Why did I go into electric car charging? People might say, electric cars, what's that? That's not a thing. Actually, after this summer, we had some great news last week or 2 weeks ago. EV sales in Australia has tripled, charging infrastructure has grown by 140%, and the UK has basically said 2035, we're not going to sell petrol or even hybrid cars anymore. They all have to be electric. So the future is already here, it's coming, and this was the wrong. That was funny, that was really good. But with that, we're going to see a couple of problems. So in order to prepare for the rise of the electric car, we need to think about how we're going to refuel them. Most of us will do that at home. But also, petrol stations, as you would know, they're controlled by a few big companies, very centralized. This will completely change with electric cars. Every shopping center, every workplace, anywhere where a car park has electricity will be a charging spot. But then these charging spots might have constraints in their supply of electricity. So we need to look at retrofitting, load management, and eventually, like, think about 1 million, 2 million, 3 million cars. The grid will say, well, how do I know where all these cars are and when they want to charge, and how do I forecast that demand? So our solution is an easy one to offer to drivers today. That is, you use our phone to activate a charging station, and the charging station operator gets a tool to manage their electrical asset. We're also looking at smart grids, how we integrate cars further with the grid to actually support it, not be a drain, but to support the grid in times when it needs it. The markets are going to grow really quickly, like 14, 15 times in the next decade for like China and the EU. Here's the landscape in Australia at the moment. Tesla is building a network of superchargers. There's another software company, ChargeBox. They also focus on high or ultra-rapid chargers along corridors and highways. So this is how we work. We take the payment from the drivers. The operator of a charging station pays us a subscription fee for the use of our software. Currently, we're going to market with channel partners, and our customers are Lend-Lease, UTS, TES Networks. We've got a great team of very experienced people, and I know I'm getting credit for time for earlier, thank you. But yeah, great team, 3 super experienced software developers and a great BDM, and our advisories have like the relevant industry experience as well. So that's what we're here for, to make EV charging easy.
Well done. Just shows what a bit of practice with pitching does. It's, yeah, you did a great job. I've seen you pitch quite a few times over the last couple of years, and every time it's better, so well done. Well, it was the grace with which you dealt with them. That's what's impressive. Again, you know that I love what you're doing. My question is, how defensible is your business? You've got, if one of the cornerstones of it is you know, making it easy for drivers to use their phones to make car payments, I would have thought that, you know, you're a startup, you probably don't have very deep pockets, and the hardware providers, on the other hand, for example, Tesla, they've got deep pockets, and it's pretty, I would have thought it was fairly easy for them to develop a similar payment technology. So I'm just, you know, I'm interested to know how defensible you believe your business is.
Yeah, it's a great question. So Tesla is sort of like what we know with Apple and the iPhone. It's their own ecosystem. They build a product for their customers only, whereas we're hardware agnostic. But that means there will be others who can come in, and we need to work on how we defend our market share and our product. And one of the ways we do that is through deep integrations with customer loyalty programs, providing that extra experience for the EV driver. So if you go to charge at a shopping center, you make sure that you get discounts in shops, or that you can watch something on the app while you're charging. Like, there's lots of different things where you can separate and build the better product, and that's what we're aiming for, the best customer experience.
And big points on Green Wallet, huh?
Yes. Absolutely.
Thanks, Carola. I think the pace of change in electric vehicle use is going to surprise a lot, if not most people. 25% of new car sales in China are going to be, by 2025, electric vehicles. you imagine the potential exponential effect that's going to have. How do you see your sort of pathway forward in terms of growth and being able to meet these sort of potential divergences?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think we're really going through this like smartphone moment. Like in 2007, you would have asked people like, oh, what do I need an app for? Like every man and the dog has an app today. That's what smartphones did, and I think we're going to see a similar disruption in the EV sector. And we're just, we want to grow as fast as the sector, but we're also obviously working ahead and need to prepare for that. So we're currently actually raising capital to scale up and grow faster.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. Carola from Everty. Next up, I want to call to the stage Brian from Wise Technologies. Actually, he used to be at Fishburners. I haven't seen him for about 6 months, so I'm actually keen to see what's happened since I last saw him. So it's actually to give him a big back to Fishburners welcome to Brian.
Thanks, man. I think the last time you saw me, I had some hair, so a lot has happened, right? So I just want to start, like, look, we all know the fires were bad. I just want to, this is what we're looking at. We're looking at, my company, Wise Networking, is actually about dealing with communications in an emergency, right? And this is what we're trying to solve. No service, because when the disaster happens, your phone has no signal. You're supposed to have an AM radio to hear the emergency broadcast. I'm sure we're all carrying one. Now, emergency services use two-way radios to get around it. They can do voice, but no data. So here's an interesting question. How do I recover a data wireless network in an emergency? And there were 3 things we had to figure out on how to do it. 1, we needed to build our own cheap, low-cost comm tower. I've done 5.7 kilometers in all directions, 7 megabytes per second. We're now testing to talk to your phone at 1 kilometer range, Wi-Fi. 2, we needed a way of getting it into the field easily. So we said, we got to drop it by the air. What you're looking here is what we call a gyroshoot. It's a parachute replacement technology that allows us to drop the towers into a disaster zone without human intervention. And we can solar and battery it for long-term operation. 3rd, we're dealing with fires and extremely high temperatures. So guess what? I need a heat shield. So we went to make one. So our heat shield is rated for 2,500 degrees C, and that red beer plastic cup actually is fine. We've been in stealth for 18 months, so this is the first time I'm actually talking about it publicly. And as you can see, cool to touch once it's complete. So, with those 3 things, we figured this out. We have built the world's first air deployable tower to restore communication in a disaster area within hours. And it's patent pending. Gotta say that, right? We've already working with Autodesk, thank you, Autodesk, and we already have partnerships with Sabre Aeronautics. So that's US DoD and Australian defense contracts that we're discussing and negotiating with right now. This is my team. I have my 10 members here. We're all really excited about what we're doing. These are advisors. I got John Odin, ex-US White House. He's ex, okay? He's not the current administration, all right? All right? And this is all we're really trying to do. The reality is when you have a problem, you need to communicate. And our goal is to just give you communications when you need it the most. And that's it, really. And with that, thank you for your time.
Hello. That's amazing. I love your pitch. I love your product. I think it's wonderful. I don't have any burning questions apart from having been through cyclones in the Pacific and not being able to contact family for up to 2 weeks and being stuck in certain areas. A lot of organisations spend quite a bit of money actually as I'm sure you know, driving out different AV equipment to try and talk with people. So and it's a very long, convoluted process with the NDMO and everything. So really simply, is it only for fires, or does it also work in areas that might be inundated with water, flood zones, things like that, that is a bit more broad? Yeah.
The system has been designed with every single disaster in mind. So even if you one of the things we didn't mention is you can also carry sensors, right? So if Fukushima happened again, you just drop the units with radiation sensors and you can monitor what's going on. It's about getting comms in places where you don't want to send people.
And I'm just looking at a startup at the moment, and its offering is kind of drop-in Wi-Fi connections. So does your sort of tech provide, when there's actually no Wi-Fi?
Okay, so our system is designed for no infrastructure on the ground working. So we don't require additional power, we don't need comm line, we're completely independent. So we can do Wi-Fi, we're actually building a 4G system right now. So we're trying to be comms everywhere when you need it, and you don't need to worry about what's going on the ground. Oh, he ran away.
Okay, I thought there might have been some more questions. Okay. So, all right then. Thank you very much for that. Next up, we have Alan from solar.io. Everybody put your hands together.
Thank you. First of all, show of hands, who has solar in in here? And who hasn't got solar? Show of hands. Target audience, fantastic. All right. Let's get going. Nope, wrong way. All right, welcome to Solar.io. Our mission is to bring power back to people. Now, what are we trying to achieve? Well, what's the problem? So energy is really expensive and it's really complicated. In fact, it's increased over 160% over the last 10 years, and more than likely, none of you here, well, probably some, know your energy retailer. Look, CO2 emissions is an ongoing issue to our climate change, and 80% of our energy is produced by fossil fuels. And this is because we have a centralized infrastructure that is restraining change towards sustainability. So the solution is rooftop solar, but it's really expensive, between $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. It's complicated, you get told about feed-in tariffs, and there's a lack of trust. There's about 2,000 retailers out there. So for that reason, there's about 21% of households in Australia that have solar today. So we went away, and we're trying to provide free solar panels and a subscription energy model. Very similar to your phone. In fact, I don't own this phone. I got it through Telstra. I pay $80 a month. I get my data, I get my minutes, and I got my asset. We're doing exactly the same with solar panels. We're really excited about it. And the outcomes we can see is that the end user will have up to 40% of savings on their energy bill, and it's not complicated because you're going to know what you pay for your energy bill. CO2 emissions, if we hit our targets by 2025, we're going to be able to offset up to 17,000 tons of CO2 emissions by 2025. And more importantly, we're going to decentralize the current infrastructure. Now, you're probably thinking, who's buying these panels? Well, look, it's quite simple. We have solar owners, which are investors. The investors invest in the solar panels who go on the producer's home, so us that don't have solar panels. We have a monthly bill, and from the dividends that are earned from the sun, we pay it back to our investors, and they earn between 10 to 14% return on investment. We take a 20% cut from the revenue. Pretty simple. Over the next 5 years, we aim to put 40,000 homes with solar, with a market share of 0.43%. By 2022, we look to put batteries within the home and working towards a virtual power plant. But the most important, well, the most exciting thing for us is the data that we're going to collect from production and consumption, and we can get towards the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and smart home technology. And that's our aim to get there by 2025. So where are we at today? So we've installed about 290 homes across Australia. We are a solar retailer licensed by Clean Energy Council. We have a $10 million wholesale fund on the go at the moment, and we are a licensed energy retailer through our partners, Energy Locals. So what are our next steps? So we're just about to close off our $10 million wholesale fund. We're also going in for a Series A in the next few months, and we're looking to raise $3.5 million to get our product into country. And we're with a $10 million fund, we're looking to install 1,500 homes within bushfire-affected towns. So thank you very much for your time today. Appreciate it. The practice was easier than that. Damn it. Hello.
Hi. Fantastic ambitions, and it looks like you've got a good workable business model. What would you say is your sort of main value differentiation compared to others in the field who are also sort of pre-financing systems?
So the traditional financing model is called a power purchase agreement. It's been very successful in America, not in Australia. We try and make it simple. I think we Australians need things simple, and having a subscription model where it's one fixed fee, I think would be very valuable to the end user. Like 80% of us don't have solar in here, and probably the main reason is it's really expensive, and also you don't know who to trust. So I think that's where we want to put the competitive edge, is that we've embedded the solar as a solar retailer, but also as an energy retailer. You're not having to deal with other energy retailers, you just deal with one company.
Can you tell me what your wholesale fund was about?
Sorry,
wasn't clear.
I got 3 minutes. It was really annoying. I could be here for hours. So the wholesale fund, essentially we're looking at wholesale retailers, and we're also looking at going into the retail market as well. The ambition is that someone can put, I don't know, $100 savings a week into our investment portal, and it goes towards helping someone have access to solar. The wholesale side is, I guess, sophisticated investors are putting money in. They own, I guess, a majority of assets. Well, they own all the assets, essentially. And then there's a 10-year power purchase agreement that's placed with the end user. And that's where they get the return, I guess, on their investment from the sun. So we're not buying electricity from the grid, we're buying our energy from the sun. All good? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, so next up we have from Upowr, I think it's Stu. Now I met most of the people before we came on tonight. Stu from Upowr. All right, put your hands together. Upowr.
Thanks guys, we've been getting trolled on Twitter all day, so I need to come back. All good. So, you know how people want to lower the carbon footprint of their home by switching to solar and batteries? Well, we thought it'd be a pretty good idea to make that just a really simple digital experience. So, as you've just heard, buying solar can be really challenging. Lots of misinformation, super fragmented market with few trusted brands. So we built Upowr. Upowr is a full-service digital platform from design, sale, project management, and operation. How do we acquire customers? Well, it's pretty simple. Upowr goes the other way. So we partner with energy retailers. We take energy data through our platform to deliver a personalised customer experience. And just how big is the market? Well, over the next 3 years, we think around $6 billion worth of residential solar will be installed in Australia. And AEMO estimate that over the next 20 years, the market, including storage, will be as large as $70 billion. But what's crazy is that despite over 2 million homes in Australia having solar, that experience hasn't changed over the past 20 years. Many small businesses have struggled, and energy retailers have really struggled to make a meaningful impact on that customer transition. So Upowr brings together the key industry participants to provide a better experience for all. We've got a really good team, and we've got the ability to take our platform global. And in terms of our revenue model, we charge a commission per sale, and we're on track for $1 million revenue calendar year. We recently launched our platform down in Victoria with PowerShop, and this week we signed a tier 1 energy retailer.
Very cool, calm and collected pitch, just kind of cruised in there. I have a comment, I guess, and it's maybe for both of you, and it's not a question. One thing that everyone agrees with is that, you know, the youth coming through Australia now is very much on board with the climate mission, and that's fantastic. Another thing about the youth in Australia is very few of them are homeowners and will be homeowners. myself included probably. So I wonder if there's any way or mechanism for renters in Australia to have some sort of say on the power that they use in their household.
Well, I think products like that probably go to the heart of what's possible, to be honest. Yeah. So hopefully, you know, that's a product. We've got a platform, so, you know.
All right, thank you. Our next pitch reminded me of a story of Fishburners. We talk about Fishburners being a place where startups grow. And some of you may not know the story of Koala mattresses. So Koala Mattresses is actually a really successful company that's branched out into furniture and started here at Fishburners. Our next pitch comes from a company that has a very unique type of furniture, maybe another big story just like Koala, who knows. But Branko from MMASS, come on up.
Hello? There we go. All right. Thanks for coming, guys. Being a practicing architect and an urban designer, I'm very conscious that I'm contributing to the densification of our cities. And increasing density is at the expense of the humble backyard, and it's the most cherished space of the home. And that left us thinking, where's the serenity? The backyard is losing its ability to be a sanctuary for us, a leafy escape to the urban concrete jungle. These are important habitats that we share with ecology and a key asset to combat the heat island effect and stormwater runoff. But we need a reason to fall back in love with the backyard. These don't contribute much to the relationship at all. As Marie Kondo says, does it spark joy? And at MMASS, we've taken these raw ingredients and have designed a product that just does that. Inspired by Sydney's sandstone geology, Thirsty is a high amenity outdoor seat shaped to harness the most precious resource in Australia, water. By collecting, storing, and having it at use when the garden gets thirsty, irrespective of the water restrictions are at play. Thirsty is modular, so it can be positioned in a variety of configurations and are designed with ergonomics as a key feature. Rainwater is collected from the seat surface and drains into the base tank. Any spillage from the watering the plants goes back into the tank, and so there's no waste. A tap using a battery-operated pump for pressure gets the water out. The catchment's sized so that it can collect 500 litres of water. And you can see here, everywhere that's green and then towards blue, it has the ability to catch all that and more. Because the Thirsty is decoupled from the roof, it's not connected to the downpipe, there's no installation, and there's no plumbing costs. And with an option to make each unit out of recycled content plastic, it's the best seat in the house and in the garden. What's really neat is that we can use water not just for irrigation, but as ballast, using the weight of the 500 litres of water to create an immovable urban seating area, perfect for creating public spaces that are safe. This creates the same sense of sanctuary and peacefulness and a desire in dense urban environments. Thirsty has an amazing opportunity to influence the future design and function of the streets themselves. With the rise of shared and automated mobility services, we could be in for the most profound 10 years of our lives. Let me finish. A temporary infrastructure like this, like Thirsty, will need to be used to test the suitability of these permanent reallocations of public space into the future. Thirsty is designed for a challenging but exciting future. Thank you.
Well done, I love that. It reminds me a little bit of, vertical gardens that are becoming, it's taken a little while, but it's really taking off. And I see a similar potential for that, so I love it. I've got two questions. One is, you talked about the water as ballast, but if the water is being, siphoned off to water the garden, then depending on the rain and all that sort of stuff, it's not going to be ballast, so it won't be safe.
So in the urban environment, it would be used as ballast, and you would just close that off and then have some sort of other system. Usually council workers would water the plants on top. But there could be opportunities to somehow close that loop.
Yeah. And the other one is go-to-market. What is your go-to-market strategy?
It's very early on. As you can tell, that was my first pitch.
Well, you did a great
of
job,
this
so
product.
well done.
All right. It's been under wraps thus far. We're talking to a couple of investors and a couple of really good people that I've got on the team. Commercialization is definitely the next step. Don't know which way to go. There's many options, but at the end of the day, we want this in the hands of as many Australians as possible.
No more questions? Thank you, Branko. Climate change is forcing us to rethink the way we think about food. Now, our next guest, or next person coming up, hopefully climate change isn't going to mean that I'm going to see chickens laying hard-boiled eggs. So to tell us a brighter future for food changes from climate change, Nick from V2 Foods, where are you? Thanks. Put your hands together.
I don't think I've ever spoken in less than 3 minutes. We're facing an existential crisis. You all know about it. 10 billion people, 2050. We're going to need 2 planets to feed ourselves in the way we're currently feeding ourselves, and that's because of the amount of meat that we eat. This is $1 trillion opportunity for the world. The current version is not sustainable, it's evolved, and we're now in a world where we design our world. We need a version 2 of our agricultural system to feed the world. And what's interesting is that now we're at the tipping point. We'll look back at the last years. This is where it's happened. Consumers are looking for something that they can do to improve the sustainability of the planet, and we can give it to them. We found a way to get meat, the meat that we love, and we love meat, from the plants that we need. We're working with Australian farms, we're harvesting the legumes, we're using proprietary technology developed together with CSIRO, and we're working with the meat producers to produce a finished product which eats like meat, cooks like meat, tastes like meat, and it fools you completely. Our launches in Australia and New Zealand are only the beginning. We're working with Aussie farmers to grow the meat industry, but we believe there's room on the plate for both. I'm not a vegan, but I am reducing my meat consumption, and that's important for the planet. We've got a few haters, interestingly, but actually this is good for Australian industry and good for Australian agriculture, and when you talk to them, actually it's about sustainability, so it's okay. Thank you. Our origins are Australian. This is not an Australian problem, this is a global problem. CO2 is in the atmosphere, we've got to get it back into the soils. If we're going to have an impact on climate change, we've got to think big. V2 is thinking big. We're trying to be a global organization really quickly. And we need to get the world to adopt plant-based meat. And what we need from you is to join the movement. And now what I want to do is I want to have a little advertising break for you, which I think I've got a minute to do that. So let's just see if this works. This is the latest launch. This is only 4 days ago in New Zealand. So this is Burger King in New Zealand.
Welcome to Bowls, a small farming town in the middle of New Zealand, famous for their name.
We're respectable,
befriendable,
and rather knowledgeable about beef.
Yep. We love our beef.
We love our beef.
And it's this unbridled meat enthusiasm that Bulls residents are famous for. So we conducted an experiment to test just how well they know their beef.
Classic, very beefy. That's it.
Beautiful beef patty in it.
Grilled to perfection.
Little did they know their Whopper patty was actually made from plants.
Pardon? No meat. It tastes exactly like a meat burger.
You serious?
We are.
I don't believe you. No.
No.
Wow. That's cool.
I'm still blown away that that's not meat.
No, no.
No. I'm not kidding you. No.
Have another bite.
Well, these plants taste like meat. Dang.
I'm still not 100% convinced that it's not a beef patty, actually.
Tastes exactly like... just like a Whopper. Yeah.
No, it isn't meat. It tastes like beef.
I like it more than beef.
Yeah, it is meat. How did they even do this? Crazy scientists or something?
I've tasted a lot of beef and I didn't even realise.
Are you gonna have the rest of that?
Yeah.
100% Whopper, 0% beef. BK's new Rebel Whopper.
I just want to keep eating it, but you keep talking to me.
Thank you.
Huge problem you're tackling. Well done. Does this mean that you're supplying Burger King and they're selling your patties made from your burgers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're part of the meat industry. We're supplying meat to the meat industry, including Burger King, Hungry Jack's in Australia, and anyone else.
Awesome traction. That's fantastic. Awesome. And how do you? Tell me about the competition for non-animal based meats.
Oh, there's no competition. I mean, it's insane. I mean, not only is it impossible with $600 million financing, beyond with billions of dollars of financing, every major company, food company globally, from Unilever, Nestle, Tyson's, everyone is piling into this space. So we better get big quick, otherwise we're going to get swamped. But we have technology which is proven. We would have a product which is better than all of the competition, and we're pricing our product at the same price as meat, which is half of what the competition is doing. So I reckon we got a chance.
Nick, you're working with some great organisations, obviously. I better declare a conflict of interest. Just curious, where do you see, obviously, other than consumer acceptance, the main sort of sticking points? I think you alluded to, potentially some industry coming around to the idea of plant-based product. Is there other products that still need to be developed? Can you do a steak?
Technically you could, but why would we? The majority, I mean, if you're a vegan, then it's about eliminating meat, destroying the meat industry. We're not about that. If I want to have a steak, I'm going to have a steak and make sure it's a really good one and make sure it's sustainable. So Australia grow very sustainable meat, better than in the US. Let's make sure that our plant-based meat is really sustainable, and then if you're going to eat meat, make sure that's sustainable too. We're going to need both. You're going to need both to feed the planet.
I don't actually have a question. I just wanted to say that your messaging and your advertising, I think, is really fabulous. It's really inclusive. It's really funny. So from a messaging perspective, I think it's fab. I actually know these ads because they caught my attention before I even knew it was V2. And I mean, meat in the Pacific is obviously a huge, talking point when it comes to climate action. My husband's half Tongan, he's actually out there, and when we first started seeing each other, he told me we'll be a Whopper family, so it's good that now we've got an alternative. Thank you.
So Nick, are you the crazy scientist in the guy referred to in the ad?
I'll leave that honour to the CSRO people that I work with.
Okay,
I'm
everyone,
not
thanks
crazy.
to Nick. Thank you very much. Our final pitch for the night is really, really interesting stuff, as they've all been. Very high quality tonight. But I just wonder with this next pitch what those chemtrail conspiracy theorists are going to complain about. So David from Dante Aeronautical, come up and do your pitch.
Thank you. Last but not least. So imagine that you're living in Albury and you want to go to Canberra for the day for a business meeting, day trip, to say hello to our lovely politicians. You need to drive, basically. I mean, there's no other option. But there used to be. Not long ago, there were a few airlines that were connecting this pair of cities, as some other similar cities in this state and in Australia, but they disappeared. Why did they disappear? Simply because they went bankrupt, because it wasn't economical. Actually, what was happening is that the aircrafts that connect these cities tend to be small aircrafts that happen to be twice as costly as the typical low cost that we can fly today, like a Jetstar, Tiger Air, something like that. So basically, they went out of the market. And the interesting bit is that air transport has been growing, day after day, year after year for the last 20 years, except this segment. All the aircraft under 40 seats, basically, have ceased existing, and there hasn't been any new aircraft developed in the last 20 years. And as such, airlines that we're using are in big trouble, and the connections that these aircraft used to connect, they basically are non-existent. So what we're trying to do is to change that. What we're going to do, we're going to be able to connect those cities, those medium and small size communities, to reduce door-to-door time significantly. We're going to do it with any additional infrastructure, basically using the existing airports that very often are infra-utilized, and we're going to do it with the disruptive economics. So that means basically halving at least the costs of existing aircrafts, and that will definitely enable new routes. Okay. So, don't know what happened there, but this is simply to illustrate that what we're going to be able to do it, or how we're going to be able to do it. And basically what we will be able to do is, connect these cities that right now, if you want to do it, you need to drive. You need to drive for 2, 3, 4 hours, or you need to fly to Sydney and back to the other city. And basically, most of the times that means that you need to stay overnight, you need to pay a hotel, you need to waste a whole day or a couple of days. This is our technology, and just simply what we're relying, and I guess that I missed a slide there, is on electric motors. So what this, the reason why this is possible is because now electrification is reaching aviation, is arriving into aviation. And that thanks to all the developments that we've been seeing in the last 20 years, particularly in the last 5 to 10 years with electric cars. Why now? And probably this is something that, some of you may be missing, or someone that we may be missing in all this conversation about electric aircrafts, about reduced fuel consumption. And what we need to do is to go and ask her, so why now? And the reality is because there's starting to be a lot of pressure, but also because electrification is enabling this type of transport. Thanks to electrification, we're going to be able to reduce significantly the fuel consumption. We're going to be reducing also the maintenance of the aircraft. Those are the two main costs of any aircraft or any airline today. And with that, basically what we'll be doing is, apart from making aviation more affordable, apart from reducing the tickets between the cost of tickets between medium and small communities, we're going to be able to reduce emissions significantly. Another blank. So.
David, that was really interesting. If I say, without giving too much away, that I had a conversation with a bunch of people who work for a large international airline with a zero emissions target by 2050, and 98% of their emissions come from jet fuel, you can see that, there are major corporations looking for solutions. So you've got a lot of challenges. You want to be a manufacturer. What's next, and how can we help in this room?
sorry. We're right now in the concept design phase, and we are fully funded, up to that point. By the end of the year, what we need to do is to get into the prototype phase. Sorry. So, sorry about that. That wasn't expected. What we're going to do is after this, and we're going to finalize our concept design, we're going to get into prototype phases, or into the prototype phase, and that means flying scale prototypes. We're going to do it like UAVs, like little drones. I mean, not so little, probably 2-3 meters long, in order to test and validate all the hypotheses that we've been working on. And with that, we'll initiate the journey to certification that is going to be a little bit long. It may take like 7-8 years.
I just wanted to say I love the big vision. We've just invested in some electric flying cars. They're more drone type things, but aviation I think is absolutely right for it, but it is a big, hairy, audacious thing that you're trying to do, and well done, and I wish you well.
Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone. Put your hands together for David. Now, have we jumped out of the presentation deck here? Have we lost our flow with the presentation deck or not? Or is this a screenshot? Let's see. Because next up we've got, let me just check. Next up we've got, that was the end of the actual formal pitches that the judges will be voting on later. But, so there is some vote, but should we do the voting now or should we do it after the next two lightning rounds? Okay, so open up your apps now, and as an audience you can also vote, but you can take your time because we're going to have a couple of lightning round pitches that, because we only had a certain amount of time for the full pitches, we've got a couple of people coming up and just doing a one slide pitch, and we won't do judges' questions with these ones, we'll just let them go through for about 30 seconds, okay? So the first one is a microgrid funding initiative, and I think it's Bradley. Where's Bradley? Can you come on up please, Bradley? There he is, great, all right. That's the hands together. Thank you. Is that your slide or not? Well, there's only one slide, isn't there? Oh, does it? Okay. The one that's grayed out. Forwards, okay?
Formatting screwed up,
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful to see so many people here tonight for Fishburners Pitches. I'm Bradley Hughes with Fractonium. 1.1 billion people globally have no access to electricity. It's 2020. This is absolutely ridiculous. 4.3 million people die annually from household air pollution from kerosene lamps and kerosene stoves. Really, really terrible. So what can we do about this? By providing renewable microgrids to rural communities in less developed countries, we can provide power that's clean and renewable, empower them and save lives. How do we do this? We're building a funding platform that enables fractional funding of renewable energy infrastructure, microgrids, using blockchain technology. Our structuring makes it easier for investors and banks to say yes. And it also provides regulation for you to support these projects. We're already working with a partner in Ghana, and we've recently returned from Myanmar, working with their largest bank. Our ask tonight is for contacts, investors, and passionate supporters to help us empower 100 million people out of poverty and to ensure that 1.1 billion people with no electricity get renewables rather than catastrophic climate change power from coal and gas. Thank you. Our CEO, Tim Lee, is also in the audience tonight. Wave, Tim, and we're available for questions.
All right, thank you. All right, now, next up, the last, this one I don't think there's a slide for, so I'll put that up in case you didn't get the link before to vote. I think you can only vote once, or if you can't, you should only vote once, okay? Is there Sugato in the audience here tonight to talk about hydro storage? Sounds very interesting. Tell me all about it. There's the microphone. Put your hands together for Sugato.
Solid pumped hydro. I'd like you to Google this because you will find a few things there, and you'll find my name. I don't have my slide up, but if you go LinkedIn my name, you'll find animated 3-minute video which I've prepared today, which would explain to you physically what I mean by solid pumped hydro. Now, essentially it's very simple. Pumped hydro is putting water up the hill and bringing it down. When you put it up the hill, you store energy. Problem, the energy is stored in the water. And we don't have a lot of water in the world. But we got lots of sand, lots of soil, lots of crushed ore. Now I have the technology for taking that crushed ore, sand or soil, and putting it up the hill, and then bringing it down efficiently. There are other people trying to do it. This is gravitational energy storage. But mine is probably the most efficient way of doing it. By the way, I have a patent. And I've got an Australian patent already for it. And it's filed in US, Canada, and a few places, all off my own bat. But this is really serious, guys. This is a doable solution. And if I have $2 million, which is what I'm looking right now, I can do a 1 megawatt, maybe 2 megawatt hour piece. And this is replicable. Right now, the vision is to do it maybe in a farm, because we've got weak power lines in the country. And then to distribute this, you know, you can have 1,000 of these, which can feed into the weak power system we have in the, in the country of, countryside, and still put the power back into the grid without causing a huge problem of instability or anything. So
interesting stuff. Thank you very much, Sagato. There'll be plenty of time if you've got further questions. All these people will probably hang around for a drink afterwards. The bar will be back open, so find people and ask lots of questions. I love these multiple slide builds. Here we go. Where does it end? Okay, no, there, there, we got there. Okay, so a few more announcements to make, and a few more chances for people to get up and speak in a second if they want to say something or a win or talk about what they're doing briefly. But Future Up is something, just for those people, I know there was a few hands went up for first-time Fishburners visitors, or even if you're thinking of doing your own startup. So I'll give you, this is a program that Fishburners have started for first-time founders. So if you haven't started a company before, honestly, it's incredibly rewarding. But my experience has been, it's harder and it takes longer than you thought it would take, but the rewards are immense if you can pull it off. So this is a program that Fishburners has put together to help first-time founders. So look it up on the website if you'd like some more information. Another program is Ideate Up, which is about making corporates more future-ready. But to talk about that, I just want to invite Letitia up on the stage. Is Letitia here at the moment? Great, come up and say a few words. Put your hands together, welcome Letitia, and she'll say a few words about Ideate Up.
Hello, everyone. So who here works in corporate? Oh, not that many people, actually. So maybe you're not the right crowd, but I'll still explain you what is Ideate Up. We realize that in corporate, a lot of people are willing to innovate and create change from within, but they struggle a bit with applying the kind of human-centered design, lean startup, ideation framework, prototyping. Like basically the corporate world sucks their idea and they're just, feeling disempowered. So with Fishburner, we created a program which is putting together all the secret recipe and also inviting, we don't have the faces of our speaker here, but that's okay. So we have different speakers coming along to share their stories. So we have Jane George, who's been created 2 different startups that she exited, and she's the founder of Like-Minded Bitches, Drink Wine, for those of you who know this group, so she will come and share with you her learning. You also have Charbel Zeiter, who created Academy XI, if some of you knows it, and will share his learning. So we have a lot of speakers coming. The fact is creating a community of like-minded people who are isolated in corporate, who feel like they cannot drive change from within. But what I'm telling you, it's like if you succeed in corporate, which is what I've done, I work for a big corporate and I've driven innovation from within, you have a very, very huge impact. It's good to partner with startups, it's good to have a startup ecosystem, but it's also good to work hand in hand with corporate and help corporate, future-proof the way we work, the future of work with the 4th revolution coming in. So that's it for me. I hope you're excited.
So I know the suspense must be killing you. The judges have come back in and they have a winner, but we have to wait a little bit longer before we find out who the winners are, because I think if the slides are as I expect next, we might find out what you actually win. Blank slide, great. So one of the prizes tonight. Now, do we have anybody to talk about this prize for one of the winners? Do we have anyone to talk about the investable games? If not, I'll talk about it. I don't know that much, but I'll make it up. Okay, we've got someone who knows a bit more than me. Great. Run. Grab the mic and tell us all about this prize.
Hello. Hey guys, I'm Nick. I'm just here on behalf of Investable today. I've actually got two prizes. First, we'd like to invite Wise Networking to have an hour investment meeting with our investment committee. I'll be in touch with you guys. Secondly, the Investable Games. So, what is this? It's a 2-day due diligence event for basically anyone looking to raise capital in the next 3 to 6 months and looking to get feedback from investors, but also to expand your investor network. Essentially, across the 2 days, you'll be engaging in up to 10 challenges that is going to assess all facets of your business. So, anyone who's looking to raise capital in the next 3 to 6 months, feel free to check out the link below. And we'd like to, pending a few further questions, also like to invite Wise Networking to apply for the program. Thank you.
Not to try and preempt the judges in any way, but I believe that prize, if I'm correct, is for that prize will be for the winner of the judges' vote. But to come up and talk about what the winner of the audience vote gets, and once again, that code for guess what? If you didn't laugh enough at my jokes, you've got to donate more money. So there's your last chance. And upcoming events. So is Jeff just gonna cuff it and talk about what the prizes are? Jeff, are you in the crowd somewhere? Come up and you don't need a slide. You've done this before. Come and tell us all what are the prizes that the audience winner gets.
So one of the challenges with mentoring and just being a startup is that you need to be able to know everything, and you can't. It's impossible. We've all gone through this challenge. So from a mentoring perspective, we know that the 4 key issues that you have as a startup is generally it's around growth. So you've got a marketing problem. You've probably got a product challenge that you need to try and solve. You've probably got some legal aspects, especially early on, where you're trying to understand, okay, well, do I need to protect my IP? Do I need to protect my company name? What do I need to do? And fourth, if you could pick the brains of someone who's gone before, who knows the industry or the challenge that you're trying to face, can they help you to sort of navigate some of the storms that they've already had to navigate themselves? So there are 4 groups or 4 main mentors who provide that for the winners of the vote tonight. So from the crowd perspective rather than the judges. So you'll work with myself from a marketing perspective from Passionbury Marketing. I'm based here at Fishburners and help a lot of startups with their journeys. You've got a Perry in Law, very experienced, handled multi-million-dollar deals, but also very small startups from the start all the way to the exit. We've got a CTO who will provide an hour's worth of mentorship for you as well. And then obviously Henry, if you're familiar with Fishburners, he knows everybody in Sydney startups. He'll find the right person to help your specific problem that you need help with. And we do that every week where we've got a Friday night pitch night. So 4 one-hour sessions for the winners from the audience vote. So thanks very much.
Before you congratulate Jeff, congratulate Solar.io as the audience winner tonight. So,
well done.
Well done. And now the drum roll for the investable games entry from the judges' vote. Maybe you can talk a bit, give us a bit of context. We have one spokesperson from the judges to talk about it. And, but who is the winner? Who's going to the investable games?
I'm doing the preamble, not I'm announcing the winner. I just wanted to say that we really struggled to choose a winner, and every single one of the pitches tonight deserves to win. But we chose a winner on the basis that we're about to be.
And over to me. We can say it actually came down to the wires.
I got a bit of competition here tonight.
Yeah. So we ended up thinking about the scope of ambition. And for that reason, because there are no shortage of challenges, we chose David from Dante Aeronautical. Congratulations.
All right, well, thank you very much. Just one last thing before I wrap up. Matisse, did you have it? Was there something you wanted to announce or not? Okay, you better take your chance because it's gone after this.
Gosh, that was a very good reminder. I was about to be like, see you at the bar. I just wanted to announce that here in the Fishburners event space on the 17th of March is the first meetup for the Envirotech Alliance. It is everyone who's involved or wants to see a thriving Envirotech ecosphere in Australia, please attend. Contact if you can't purchase a ticket, which we totally understand, just contact the email that's on the Humanitics. We'll get it out to everyone in the newsletter as well. Hope to see everyone there. It'll be a really interesting night. And everyone who pitched as well, you'll be getting tickets, and I'll organise that with Georgia. Perfect. Thank you.
And 5 more seconds until the bar opens. But oh, wait a sec. No, there isn't. Someone else is coming up. Oh, wait a minute. I made a mistake. I was supposed to call up. Thanks for reminding me. I forgot one thing. There's always when you've got a long list of 10 items on there, you're always going to forget something. I was actually supposed to call up wins as well. So I'm going to give people a chance. If there's people here who've got a win or got something to talk about, just 10, 15, 20 seconds, we'll get a few people a chance up here. But
Hi. I live in a bushfire-prone area, and throughout the Christmas holidays and New Year, I didn't relax. And I just thought about the magnitude of the fires and the impact. I was overwhelmed, I was paralysed, and I was really angry at the inaction that was happening. So on New Year's Day, I wrote a LinkedIn article, sent it out, and got a lot of support from a lot of people out there saying they felt exactly the same way. And so I decided I needed to act. I developed a website. It's called climateactionaustralia.net.au. It's non-political, it's pragmatic, it provides aggregated factual information, already assuming that climate change exists, not debating whether it does or not. It's got videos, and it's there to empower people. Those people that want to act and do something, but they're not sure what and at what level. And so it's there to educate, unite, and act. And the site also includes a database of Australian innovation and funding available in the climate change space. Now, I only literally just launched the site when I walked into Fishburners this afternoon, because my staff have been working day and night to do the market research, to really pull quality information together, to also have my digital guy who is literally making changes as I walked into my meeting, my graphic designers and everybody. So I'd like you to check it out. It's called climateactionaustralia.net.au. I have been tweeting tonight. Our Twitter account has no followers other than like 4 of us. So that's who, yeah. And my name's Natalie Chapman. I run GemMaker, a technology commercialisation company. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Natalie. Okay. So the one thing that I forgot to do, and there's always going to be one thing you forget, let's try and do it now. So I've got a chance for about, let's say, 4 or 5 people, and I know Kiki's going to kick it off. But if I've got maybe 3 or 4 other people who've got a win or want to just spend 20 seconds talking about their business or something interesting they're doing, want to make an announcement to the crowd, then why don't you I'll get 3 or 4 or 5 people up here. We'll just run through them quickly, and everyone can say a few words about what they do. And Kiki, come up, you're first. And let's just do that, and then we'll go to the bar, okay? All right, Kiki, you're first. If no one else comes up, then we go on to the bar.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm a climate activist, and what I wanted to say follows on from what that lady just said. So we've got the technological solutions. The main thing we need is political action. To do that, we need people getting involved. There's increasing numbers of people wanting to step up and get involved in climate activism, but they don't know where to go. And so they're doing things like creating their own websites when there's already dozens of organisations and dozens of websites that exist in Australia. but nobody knows where to start. So they're going to, ACF or Greenpeace or whatever, or trying to start up their own little group, their own little thing. There is an umbrella organisation for all climate action in Australia. It's called the Climate Action Network Australia. But they have very limited resources and they don't have a website that's kind of geared to ordinary people wanting to set up. We need a front page for climate activism in Australia. Sounds a little bit like what that lady just then was sort of thinking about, but it needs to come from the big umbrella organisation. But we need web developers. And so I'm putting out a call, if there's anyone here right now that's a web developer that would be interested in doing some pro bono work, there might be some grant money later, I can't promise, but get in touch with me. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And last, to wrap it up, last words, make them count.
Will do. Sounds like I should talk to her. I currently volunteer for Greenpeace. Been doing web design, SEO, marketing for a while. Yeah, if anyone needs any help with like the services, I'm open to. Yeah, my site is. You can find me on Steph's.site. It's STEFS.site, and I also run like a web agency as well. Come talk to me afterwards. Yeah, that's my card. It's Pepple.
Do you want 5 seconds? I'll do you together, are you? No, you're not together? No, we're not. Okay, everyone, this guy's holding you up from the bar, but I'll give him 20 seconds. Let's give it to him.
Hey guys, yeah, my name's Thomas. I've got a company called Asuvi. Basically, it's a natural cosmetics company, and we're concentrated on like packaging technology. So at the moment, we've got the first refillable deodorant in the world that has like biodegradable packaging. So you buy the first one, and then you just like refill it over and over again. And yeah, you can go to asuvi.com.au, and everything we do is on sustainability. So we do like carbon neutral packaging, recycling, yeah, everything, and yeah, the first recycled plastic tubes in the world as well for your first tube. Thank you.
Okay, so we better get this microphone off me before I start cracking more bad jokes. So just one last time, put your hands together for all the contestants, all the judges tonight. Thank you very, very much. Let's go and have a drink.